Like, that's loose, hey kid. And that's actually how the word started.
Lee, today we're lucky enough to be speaking to a special guest, and he is the founder and CEO of clothing brand LSKD, and also was an aspiring professional athlete growing up, and that is Jason Daniel.
Did you say aspiring or inspiring?
Aspiring, I would
Aspiring,
so.
yeah.
Similar to me, I guess.
I was trying.
Yeah.
Jason Daniel. Jace, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, boys. Appreciate you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
What about where we are here? This is unbelievable, this setup. This is newish, I understand.
Yeah, we've been in here, I think it's our 5th week. So, yeah, it feels like forever. I mean, we started designing this place in September 2020, so we were pretty ambitious.
Yep.
And now to be in here, it's definitely surreal. We're in the 2007 room, so when LKR first started.
Bit of a change, because you were originally in like 3 shipping containers, weren't you, in your mum's backyard? Working out of that.
Yeah, it's very surreal looking back and reflecting a lot lately. And obviously very thankful and lucky, how far we've come. But yeah, we started in my mum's bedroom, and then we slowly outgrew that, and then went to 1 container, and then another container, then another container. And then by the time we moved out of that, we had 3 containers. Our lounge room, I was working in the office. We had a couple of us in the office. Then we moved in 2010 into our first office. And we literally just used this tiny corner. I think it was like 2.5 of us then. And it was just a ghost town upstairs. And then almost 12 years later, which we've just moved out of there. And it was just the office, because we've had to move our warehouse fulfillment center a couple of times since then, because we couldn't fit those in, but we used the office. And yeah, it was fun. I mean, I love those. Like, already you look back and go, that was so fun. We're on top of each other. We had our rave cave out the back that was this, where we used to pack our orders first, and then we cleared it out. It was just this big concrete room with, timber above it. And we're like, what do we call it? And someone came up with the name Rave Cave. And now we've named our boardroom the Rave Cave, and just keep it fun. And, so.
How many employees do you have here now?
I think we've got about 55 full-time team members, and then with the casual team, it'll be close to 100. It depends what's happening within the fulfillment center as well. So yeah, it's really wild to see how far we've come.
So is this where we are? Is this the fulfillment center?
Yeah, so I'll give you guys a tour after this, but right next to us is where we ship all our orders from to the community.
Okay. And what else is in it? Like now so this is
we have some desks, which is good. I finally got a desk. I haven't had a desk for a while. I was just kind of taking everyone else's desk, and when they weren't there or working from home. But yeah, so we have our open plan office, so no one has an office, including myself. And then we've got like 5 meet rooms. So one of the rooms we're in today is like a meet room, so if you need to get away and breakout space to work. And then we have our gym upstairs, which is about 120 square meter gym. And then when you come down, you got a kitchen, which is epic, because we actually had this tiny kitchen and nowhere to eat lunch. So now we've got a big space where you can sit down and eat lunch. We actually got a U-Foods fridge going in next week, which is epic. And then you go out the back and you've got our fulfillment center to the side. And then we've got a studio where we shoot all our content, our R&D room, and then obviously just breakout spaces with book club, like a recovery station, which crew was sitting there before recovering their legs. And then our retail shop at the front. So, yeah.
I was thinking, like, obviously when you started, you would have to done everything yourself pretty much, all parts of the business you were doing, and now, other people are working for you. But what part of the business are you sort of most happy about that you don't have to look after anymore?
I was really lucky because I got to work on so much of it, and my mum played a massive part in the early days.
Can you tell us that story? Because there's no greater example of getting the chocolates, I don't think, than like going from working in your mum's bedroom to where we are now. So and I read an article last night that said something about like that she had a hand in like buying it for you as a kid, pretty much. So
she played a big part. Like, she was massive, and how much she helped in the early days. And I got to thank her a lot. My mum was a massive part of it. And we would go racing motocross on weekends. Really wanted to become a professional motocross athlete, but. Yeah, it literally, the way it all started was really interesting because it was a high school nickname, and I was still a teenager. I was still at school when the name started. So that's why we kind of classed back as far as 2002 when I was at school. And then 2007 is really when I said, okay, I want to put energy into this brand. It's something that didn't really know what my why was back then till now we know our mission and values. It's kind of been this really long journey to get to where we're at to and become a lot clearer. But yeah, it's crazy. We were, I was on the road selling. If I go back to when I was full-time as a chippy, I was up in the morning at probably 4:30 in the morning working on emails, whether it was trying to find suppliers or email retailers to sell because we're probably wholesale, or get a catalog design, or who we were getting our prints from, because, back then we were just doing local we're just working locally. We didn't work with, I suppose, offshore manufacturers. It was just working with local t-shirt suppliers and just printing on tees and hoods with local suppliers. We still do a bit of that today too to support local businesses as well. But and then I was up in the morning, and then in my lunch break, I was on the phone. I was either trying to sell to, call a retailer to sell product, or call a magazine. It was little magazines back then, or whatever it was. And then I'd get home and I'd go to the gym and I'd train, and then I'd get home from the gym and I'd work more. And I look back and go, wow, how did I do that for so many years? It was just constant grind. And then on a Saturday, if I was racing motocross, say at Harvey Bay, I would, get in the car earlier and in the kind of, retail industry, when you're not supposed to go and show a store on a Saturday because that's their busy day of trade, but I had no choice. So we'd drive up and I'd stop at Gympie and leave a little bit earlier and show a store my little 3-page catalog trying to sell, our product into them with LKI, and then would drive up and then stay the night at Harvey Bay, race on Sunday, and then come home and then go to work on Monday and kind of do it all over again. And for me, it was a passion. I just loved to do it. We just loved it. It was never about the money. It was something we were just super passionate about. And, we wanted to wear clothes when we essentially weren't racing, but if we were training in the gym, or, even back then we were going to a music festival, or, it was what Chase the Vibe was sport, fitness and adventure it is today, and didn't realize how much it was a reflection of growing up. But I look back and, I'm so lucky to have those years of learning to where we're at today. And yeah, it is wild. It's very surreal to see where we're at and the team we've developed and what we're doing as a brand. Definitely thankful and lucky. It's crazy.
And Loose Kid was your nickname at school. Is that what people called you?
Yeah, I don't think I was that loose, but it was.
How old are we talking? How loose?
It's a funny story. I mean, I rode BMX growing up, so I rode with a bunch of guys. That one of them ended up going off to win X Games, BMX Dirt, and I think I was 12 or 13, so I was quite young. And the boys I was riding with were around 18, and I actually was coming up short on a jump. So, as in they call it casing, I suppose, to not try and make it sound confusing, but I couldn't jump this jump. It was too big for me to jump, and they were like, "You're riding loose today, kid." And that's really how the nickname started, and it was actually just quite funny. And then from there, it was just a word we used, and inherently I copped the nickname, and that's how it became a high school nickname. But it was just a bit of fun. It was like, "That's loose, hey kid," and that's actually how the word started. It was really just a bunch of fun, and it was kind of just started from nothing, and it was like, "Oh, that's loose, hey kid," and it really was that, and then it evolved, and a friend of mine said, "You should turn this into a brand that I race motocross with," and then we got the trademark papers and trademarked it, and I was still at school, and we made local hats to, we would go to Surface Paradise and you'd buy 3 hats, for a price of say $5-10 from a kind of the promo shop, and we'd go and screen print our logos, screen print Loose Kid logos on it, and then sell them to our friends, or, and that was at school then. And then we'd set up at the races and set up at the track and, try and sell the brand. And my mum would sell at the stand while I was racing as well. So yeah, it was really grassroots, and it taught me a lot about building community to where we're at today as well. So, yeah.
And then can I just ask too, the LKI, that was originally branded as that was Loose Kid
Industries. Yeah.
I thought it was like...
So we were kind of like Loose Kid what? And we just thought, we'll just name it Loose Kid Industries. There was no strategy. It was just, that sounds cool. Let's do that. Yeah. And then it evolved into LKI, and then obviously over the years it's evolved into LSKD, which is the abbreviation, and then that's another whole story or chat.
The shirt designs have changed a bit over the years from when you first started.
Yeah, it has a lot. It's cool, and I mean we're really lucky. We've kept all our kind of original designs, and up our stairwell to the gym is kind of all our original designs from even 2002. We've still got tees from then, so it's super cool.
Yeah, going from that to CEO of a big company now, a really big company, that's a big jump. And how do you think your employees would think of you as a boss today? Do they think you're the relaxed, happy boss, or you're down their throat trying to get them to work hard? How would they describe you?
I've heard a few reviews already this morning when they said, like, I walked in and they were like, "Oh no, you're not doing a podcast with Jace, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Well, you never get him off."
Yeah, I talk a lot, as you can tell.
Yeah. So I saw you won the Chatty Cathy award for the office awards.
Yeah, I cop it a little bit. I won that award because I do talk a lot, as you can tell. But I don't know what they would say. I mean, I hope good things. We're definitely really focused on our culture and trying to develop our team and really try and help them personally develop through books and courses and through my learning journey as well of how I've become obsessed with books and just constantly wanting to learn and be 1% better every day. But hope they say good things. I don't know.
They
Is that
definitely
what is that what the reading club's about as well? Like out there, is that what you
Book club?
Yeah, the book club. Yeah.
Yeah, we have like a book club and a book club Slack channel, and we're always sharing books or podcasts and just kind of constantly trying to learn to get better. So yeah,
No, I did. I know a few of your employees here, and I usually do when we speak to a guest. I'm like trying to get hold of their friends or something. I was like, what stories do you have of them?
They'll have heaps.
What can we bring up? And they're like, oh, there's not too much. Like he's just
really?
an all round legend, like a great bloke. Like they had nothing but positives to say. And
I hope so.
Boring.
It's a bit boring.
I don't have anything to embarrass you with. They didn't have much, but I saw they did sort of a Jason Daniel day for you, where everyone dressed up exactly the same as you normally would, with the black shorts, black shirt, black cap. You've changed to the white cap recently, I've been seeing.
Depends on the day. I got white cap, white socks today. Just mixing it up a little bit.
That is keeping.
We had something planned that day, and I can't remember what it was. We were doing something for it was to do something in the rave cave with the crew. Like we had something planned, and I didn't realize what we were doing. And obviously I dress how I normally dress, and most of the time it's all black. And then I rock up, and the team, I was like, what? Why are the girls in rep shorts today? Like, and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think any of it. And then I saw, and then one of them was wearing a thing. I'm a big fan of the founder of Lululemon, Chip Wilson, and one had the thing around their band saying, I love Chip Wilson, and just taking the piss out of me. So it was funny. It was good fun. So it was, and then we're on some Zoom meetings, and the girls were on Zoom meetings, dressed in hats, and they're like, "Oh, we don't normally look like this."
This is so good. Jace, one thing I get frustrated by, I think, is like people always look at the end part, like the part where you are now, sort of thing. I guess, with LSKD, and they'll go like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like you just blew up out of nowhere. Like look at where you are. Like this is so exciting. Like that's happened so quickly." But then when you tell that story, like, so do you mind me asking how old you are now?
I just turned 35.
That's right. And then so this is something that you've literally behind the scenes, like you've worked on for years and years and years. Like that's
and thanks. It's and I look back, like, I mean, when I look back on the journey, especially the last 10 years, it's kind of like your every day you're trying to learn and be better. And when we say like culture wasn't perfect, coming off a job site environment and learning, coming into an office environment and learning how to juggle that and even trying to, even back then, understand what a job description was and, all these things that you get thrown at you when you're first starting out in something you're passionate about. You're so passionate about something, but you don't actually know how to kind of work on those areas. So I made so many mistakes, with the team, and, I wasn't perfect as well through that. And then learning how to build a brand and what was the why behind it. It's been a long journey, but I mean, it's weird because it feels like yesterday, and I know we've got so far to go. We're really just getting started, and it's kind of like my career is starting again. It's kind of like Jason 2.0, I feel like, but who knows when we'll get to 3.0, but yeah, it feels like it's just starting. So and I was really lucky to be essentially a teenager, and so young. And I look back on that, and I didn't realize how young I was trying to make it. And I went full time LSKD or LKI then, I think, when I was 23. So we moved into our office. So yeah, I didn't realize how young I was, and there wasn't really social media back then. I don't even think Instagram wasn't around until around 2013. So it was even pre that. It was magazine days. I got to learn how to, work with magazines and all that type of stuff that was pre even social media.
So you literally just had to go out like word of mouth, like go out and try and actually build relationships. There's no just put something on social media and hope that enough people see it. It's a very different world now. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, it was like we had athletes and, built some great relationships with a lot of professional athletes, and I was lucky enough to get the opportunity. I mean, it was then Matt Moss who was winning a lot of the championships then, and I used to travel to America. I think for 3 years in a row I traveled when he was there for a few months of the year racing, and got to learn and meet a lot of different people, meet a lot of amazing contacts and people. And I was on the road selling, walking into stores. I mean, I would fly to Perth. I mean, example, I broke my wrist in 2010. I snapped it and got some screws, and I thought, oh, well, I've got, nothing, like what else are we going to do for the next kind of, few weeks? So I jumped in, I was getting insurance money, because back then, when I raced motocross, you had insurance. So if you broke a bone, you actually got paid. So it wasn't too bad. It helped me pay for schoolies week. But
it's going to be expensive insurance as a motocross athlete to insure yourself against injuries.
Yeah, all the time. It's the first time I've heard an insurance company mentioned in a positive fashion.
Yeah, I don't think it's around anymore. But if you broke bones back then, you would get paid. So it was. And when you're at school, you kind of I had a part-time job, worked at the BP, but I didn't wasn't making that much, so it was good. But anyway, I'd jump on a plane and I'd fly to Perth, and I'd spend a week in Perth, and I would just rent a car and I would just go visit stores, and I would have my diary and I would just rock up to a store, didn't know who they were, and just go and introduce myself and meet my, share a catalog, drop one in, introduce, and then make phone calls and constantly on the phone. So if it was selling to a store or going to events and setting up stands at events, meeting athletes, working with magazines, I would, became great friends with a lot of different editors of magazines that I'm still friends with today. I was lucky enough to do some cover shoots of a magazine, which could put stickers on my helmet back then, which was obviously, we don't make stickers now, but back then that was kind of how you had to get yourself out there. So
these are all like motocross magazines that you're talking about, isn't it? Like when you used to go to news agencies and I'd look at the Inside Cricket and you'd be over here on the motocross.
On the dirt bikes, So a lot of it was then back then. I mean, it was a lot what I was doing with racing. So it was a lot of motocross, and there was the different industries with wakeboarding and things that I, was lucky enough to experience. I mean, we still sponsor different athletes today in those sports, but I got to kind of experience all that pre-social media, which kind of allowed me to learn a lot from how, with social media today, and that real genuine connection to the community and developing product for our community, essentially our customer. So it has been a journey looking back on it now.
Are you still involved in heaps of those adventure sports? Like obviously probably your ambition of being a professional motocross athlete is not as vigorous now.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped racing a long time ago. I started racing in 2010, so it was a while ago. But I recently, I think it was only about 4 years ago, I started getting into different events again, which was cool. I mean, I've always been massive into fitness and still mountain bike, I did my. I think I listened to David Goggins, actually. I don't know, everyone's probably listened to that book, but I listened to that and was like, man, I got to go harder. So then I ran my first half marathon in 2019, and then did a sprint try, and then I did the marathon last year and did my first Olympic try about 4 weeks ago as well. So it's kind of just doing events like that, whether it's a sprint try or an event. And then, so I still do a lot of different events, and I think it just helps to keep your mindset strong and you have a goal to work towards. And now these days it's not really about the event. I don't really care where I come. I just want to go and enjoy the journey and have fun and know that I've given it my all. And then I leave there and go, okay, what's the next kind of little goal to work towards if it's an event, and then work on that, which kind of keeps you fit and healthy and, strong mindset.
Yeah. I mean, that's doing triathlons and stuff. You can still get injured, but probably not quite as rough on the body as the motocross or BMX stuff can be.
I've broken quite a few bones in my day, and I'm glad touch wood, I hope I do that again.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I would find it rough on the body trying to swim in a triathlon. That would be not my area of expertise. Were you good at that straight away?
Oh, not good. I mean, I did nippers growing up as a kid for about 4 or 5 years, but yeah, I mean, luckily enough, it was the Kingy try. So it was the tide was hadn't had the turn yet. So we were swimming downstream, so it was good in the inlet. So it was good. So it made it a little bit quicker and easier. But I mean, it's not my strong suit. It's point in the event, but I was glad to finish it because I think the run was like a K with no shoes on back to the bike. It was fun.
What are those motocross sort of events like? You're growing up, going to those more amateur events, I guess. What's the vibe around the group of people heckling each other before the race? Do you sort of have mates that you're racing against and look after them, but you go a bit harder trying to block the people you don't like as much? What's
Am
it
I
like?
right in saying you're not big into your motocross? Is that fair?
I mean, I don't know.
No.
I mean, I'll be the opposite with cricket, to be honest.
Yeah,
so I mean, I don't know much now. I mean, this is a while ago when I look back, and I mean, it's funny. I mean, a lot of the guys I used to race with, I still talk to quite a few of them today. I mean, we were really competitive back then. I mean, I grew up with the founder of Fitstop, Peter Hull, and we used to race together. We lived down the road from each other, so we were super competitive with each other back in the day. So it was really good. We had this really healthy competition, and to see what he's achieving now, and we work with Fitstop really closely and to watch his journey, it's super cool. So yeah, it was competitive. I mean, everyone wanted to become a pro athlete, and you were, whatever it took. If I'd have a crash on a Sunday and hurt my shoulder, and I'd rock up to work, pretending I didn't have I'd be using a nail gun in the other arm because I didn't want to tell the boss I'd hurt that arm. You're doing whatever it takes.
Yeah.
How far through your carpentry apprenticeship did you get?
I ended up finishing it.
Yeah.
I went part-time towards the end. I think the last year and a half in 08 or 09, I went part-time. So I ended up going 3 days a week and then 2 days like LKI. So I ended up finishing it in 2010. As we moved in the new office, I finished it, but I really just did it because I needed to to survive and make money, and I wanted to finish my ticket. I mean, doing on $240 a week as a first year at $7 an hour, you really get an appreciation. And I was lucky to go through that because you get a real appreciation for the job, and knowing what it takes to even back then to get an apprenticeship. So I was like, I need to finish this.
You could have built the office.
I don't know about that. The team give me a bit of shit about that. I definitely could have built the.
You said you
way.
Still got your tool bag, don't you?
I still got my nail bag. Yeah.
Bring it in and. Do a couple of little chores, just a little handyman.
It's a good reminder there to see how far we've come, and very lucky. But I put it on a few times that the guys give me a bit of shit about it.
Is that what you're thinking when you're growing up as a kid? You're obviously thinking, I want to be a professional athlete, I want to ride motocross. But if people said, if apart from sport, what do you want to be when you grow up? Obviously, I don't think you would have said CEO of a clothing company. I'm not sure, but
no.
But what would you think? Were you thinking carpentry all the way through?
Or? I mean, before that, when I was racing, it's a funny story, but I had a day off a week. I was working in a bricklaying yard, kind of actually managing trucks, and it was filling sandbags and managing trucks that were going to bricklaying yards. And I actually didn't realize I got a lot of logistics experience from it straight out of school. And I actually tried to be an electrician for 3 months, and I hated it. And then I ended up working for a family friend in this bricklaying yard for over a year. And I actually got a day off a week to go riding. And instead of that day, I kind of started to realize I wasn't going to make it. I was like, I'm not going to be pro. Like, I'm not going to make it. So I was like, okay, I need to get a ticket. I need to get a trade. I needed to get something under my belt. So I ended up working for a carpenter a day a week for free for 3 months. Because no one was giving any apprenticeships out, so I was like, look, I'll come work for free. I just really want to get a trade. And so after 3 months, a day a week for free, I think he had me working like 12-hour days too. Like, he didn't care, but I just wanted it. And then he gave it. It was like a great day. I still remember the day he said, "I'm giving you you've got a job," and I was pumped. I didn't even care about the money. I think I sold my jet ski then. I was was getting paid quite well, and I even sold my jet ski because I knew I still wanted to race, but I knew I was going onto a wage that I couldn't afford to really live, and I was lucky to live at home. But I didn't go into it thinking, I don't really know. Like, I knew I always wanted the brand to be something, but I just hadn't committed. And then I think in 2007, as I was going on, I think second year, or just at the end of my first year and second year, and I'd actually just met my girlfriend, now wife, well before that as well. And I was like, you know what, I can do this. I really believe I could make something of this. And I actually we want a product to wear. So I was like, well, how do I make product to wear when we're not racing and we're training? And I thought, you know what, we can do something with this. And I just knuckled down and said, okay, if I apply my focus to this, then, and maybe it's not racing, maybe I can make something of it and, and create a job. I just wanted a career. I didn't think of it as where we've got to today, but I suppose as we've grown more and more in the confidence and I've got clearer, really think, okay, cool. Like, we're creating amazing careers through here, and, we're really developing something quite special. It's creating something bigger than ourselves is really important to me, because I want this brand to live on, for a very long time and inspire people to chase the vibe, which is our mission. But yeah, I didn't think of it back then. I didn't go, I'm going to be this big brand. I mean, I don't class this as big either. I think we've got a long way to go. But it is really humbling to see where we're at and the exposure our brand's getting and the opportunities we're now starting to get as a brand. But yeah, it's interesting when I look back down. I don't really know what I was thinking. I just need to get a trade, I need to get my ticket. And I enjoyed it. I love working on, I actually really enjoyed doing the job. It was fun. I had a great time and worked with great people. It was, and I learned a lot. So to what I do today.
Jase, how do you explain to people what chase the vibe means? Do you get that question a bit?
A little bit.
Yeah. Because that's obviously something you talked about, like getting your mission, your value, your why statement. How does that sort of fit in, I guess?
I mean, it was an interesting one. I mean, we were about a team of 12 when I really started to ask why, probably a few years ago. And I actually got the team together and asked for their opinions and got their help and asked our community. And that's as we went through the transition of LKI to LSKD, and was asking, our team, whiteboard sessions, asking our community, athletes, what they liked better. And then at the time, I'd obviously started listening to different books. There was Simon Sinek's books, with Start With Why or Find Your Why, and the Good to Great book, and started listening to all these books. And I was just started questioning, like, what do we do? Like, what do we actually do in here? Like, what's making me inspired to come to the office every day? And I obviously love what we did. And LKI was going okay, but it wasn't actually going that well. To be honest, because we were doing too many different things, and I was kind of distracted just making product for kind of every different channel instead of focusing on what kind of was deeply inside that we wanted to create as a brand. And then we had this word, chase the vibe. And I felt, well, if our mission is to inspire people to chase the vibe through sport, fitness and adventure, it can be quite broad, but it can be quite narrowed in. And really it's about, inspiring people every day to get out, and chase the vibe can be kind of anything really, right? It doesn't actually have to be one thing, but, we've kind of narrowed to sport, fitness and adventure. So for me, it's like when I'm, if I'm having a rough morning, or, you're having a tough week and it's like, hey, what am I doing now? Like what I love to do. It's like, if we cycled this morning in pouring rain, and I go, well, that's to me chasing the vibe. And, you finish, you high five the boys and you're like, man, that was cool. Like I feel fresh for the day and I'm started. And to me, that's what it is. It's that connection and that feeling you get after you exercise or the sport you do, or, whether you're at, doing something that makes you happy.
And that's with a group of mates too, isn't it? Like like when you're riding this morning, that's with a group that you sort of, I find that that's such a positive thing as well. Like doing that sort of thing where you've got a group of mates, you're like, oh, that was awesome. That was good fun. And like that, I guess that's something that we're pretty big on as well. But we got the chocolates. That's what we love, just embracing the fact that hanging out together is a great time.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. And I totally agree. It's funny because I trained, for a marathon and, everyone's like, oh, you run a lot. And I'm like, to be honest, it's a love-hate relationship, but I actually don't run by myself. I actually run with I've got a crew that I run with, and if they're busy, I always try and find other people to run with because I don't like running by myself. I'm not that, I don't enjoy running by myself, but running with the crew, you feed that energy. And I suppose it's potentially my personality, maybe a little bit more on that extroverted side that I've, starting to learn about myself a little more and understand myself more. But yeah, I love training with crew, but on your own gets a bit boring, so.
Wow. It's a good way to look at it. Like Lee and I guess, grew up playing team sports. We played cricket, rugby league, AFL. I haven't done too many of those sort of individual sports, and you think of it as individual, but I know like when you do it, you're doing it with a bunch of mates, you're doing it with the crew anyway, so it's not really that individual, is it? But
no, you're right. When you're training together and prepping, and then on the day, it's actually, you get the most enjoyment of an event where, on the triathlon, you actually see your mate or your mate's passing you and taking your soul, and you're like cheering him on because you're like, well, he's going hard today. Yeah. I haven't got that, I haven't got that little extra. I've given it my all, and yeah, you there with your mates doing it. It is individual, but it's like the preparation is, is a team of yous preparing for it.
I actually love that about those adventure sports too. Remember at the Olympics, we talked about how like skating, like it's so much different, like skating and BMX and stuff, when people would do like a good run, just like every athlete in the event was just super excited about it. It's not even their run, but they were just pumped. Like, and in some of the team sports we play, you're like, oh, I hate this bloke.
It's interesting when you look at it like that, isn't it? You're like, oh, you're serious?
It's the last thing you want is them to have a good day. Like, freaking hell.
I always wonder how people get into sports like that. Like, growing up, you see cricket on TV all the time. You see rugby, they're such big sports, but motocross, you don't see it as much in Australia. How do you get into a sport like motocross? How does it come about?
It's funny. It's a great question because I loved bikes growing up, and I played soccer. I tried everything. I mean, I did inline hockey. I did nippers.
What the heck is inline hockey?
Well, like ice hockey, like the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, really? But is it on rollerblades? Or?
Yeah, they used to do it on rollerblades. I did it actually at Capello when they used to have a skating rink back there.
I remember that place.
Yeah, so I did it there. I mean, that's where you guys are from. So
that's right.
I thought I was the Mighty Ducks, right? But
I need to go back and watch that movie again.
Cool. Yeah, I watch it with my almost 4-year-old. He loves it, Hendrix. But so I did a lot of sports, but I always loved BMX, and we were lucky enough to grow up on 5 acres. So we had a bit of land where we grew up, and I was just always on bikes, and I always loved dirt bikes, but we could never afford one. And anyway, I think I saw some people racing bikes, or my neighbor had a bike, so I'd ride his bike, and then I wanted to get a dirt bike, and I knew I couldn't afford a bike. It ended up getting stolen, so I ended up getting into BMX because I couldn't afford it, and my bike got stolen. And then I ended up working at the local BP to save enough money to buy one, and my grandparents helped me, to get a bike as well, so I could get into racing. But I don't know where it came from, but funny enough, I was trying to, my nonno's from Italy, and I was, and I've only just started to find out now, and he's 91 in 2 weeks, and I found out he loved bikes, and apparently he used to race a little bit back then. So maybe it's come from my Italian side, I've found out, because my little one, Hendrix, he loves bikes, and I'm like, I do not. Like he's been riding a trike before he was even 1, and he was pedaling a bike at 2, and I'm like, where does this come from? I'm like, so I think it must just be like you always get your first bike, and you either like love it or you don't, and then you start a team sport and you'll love that, or you'll find something as your niche. But Yeah, I don't know. I've just always liked bikes, and I mean, you know, I don't ride bikes. I mountain bike now, and I love a lot of different sports. You know, I kind of just like, you know, whatever keeps you fit and healthy and you enjoy it now. But I don't really know what made me get into it. It's kind of like because I wasn't a lot of kids growing up racing if their parents got them into it, but I was the opposite where I had to force my way into the sport because it was an expensive sport. So I had to, you know, work hard to get sponsors. And, you know, my mum, you know, we traveled to races and mum was amazing helping me to get to those races, but we didn't have the money to go there. So I had to kind of find sponsors and, you know, really push hard to get there. So
you always hear about that, like the Formula One race car drivers and stuff. They came from really wealthy families because it's so expensive to own a car like that. And how do you make sure everyone's on a level playing field in the motocross industry? Like, if they're on different bikes, surely someone can just give themselves an advantage by, you know, increasing their motor just a little bit. Or how do they check to make sure everyone's on that?
Yeah, we're
going
going back. I have to think about this. This is a while ago.
They all have to have two wheels.
Got to have tires. Have an engine. Honestly, though, what I really focused on when I was racing, because you could do engine work, was suspension. I mean, suspension was the most important part because some of the bumps or the braking bumps could get as deep as your waist, you know, like at sand tracks. So suspension was everything. It's like a suspension in a car. And I'm sure for Formula One and those, suspension is everything for how they're turning corners and their tires. So it's tires and suspension over an engine, because you can have the fastest engine, but if it doesn't, you know, if you can't hit a turn because of the way the suspension, and I don't remember much of it back because it was a while ago, but I always invested in suspension because I knew that was more important than a fast engine. So it's kind of like that, you know, to get you there. But we're pretty obsessed with suspension back then. I used to spend a lot of time on it and learning, and, you know, having, you know, crew do my suspension then. But
any suspensions while you're at school?
No, nah.
Yeah, I don't think my parents would be too keen on me getting into motocross and BMX riding. I think when I was...
You break your bones enough as it is.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm in the Y surf. When my dad and I, we're just surfing together. We, you know, if you fall off in the water,
even
it's not too bad.
Surfing's scary though. Like, you surf South Stratty on a pumping day. It's heavy.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I had one other question too about the actual LSKD stuff.
Yeah.
Something that I find very interesting is that, and I don't know if this is normal, my knowledge of the clothing game is probably, you know, inferior to most people's, but it seems like you always have new stuff coming out. Like, it's like you know how some people, I feel like usually people have got like, oh, here's a big like drop, here's all our stuff. Where it's like, I subscribe to the emails and every week there's something new.
Something fresh.
Yeah. So is that something that you like consciously wanted to do?
Yeah, we kind of wanted to change it up a little bit. I mean, the industry normally kind of drops like 3 or 4 seasons a year, but we felt that if we, you know, kind of did our own thing as a brand and try to give our community what they wanted instead of just doing what the normal thing was. And I mean, being online, we could kind of, you know, we could kind of talk to our community in our own way. But yeah, we develop, I mean, we develop all our own product in-house. So we have a production team, pattern making. We really develop our fits and work on the fabrics with our suppliers. So we literally do everything from the ground up, apart from sew the garments together and create the fabric. But we spend a lot of time on it. So we're working probably 9 months in advance.
Jeez.
And but yeah, we drop product pretty much weekly now. And it might only be a couple of products. It doesn't always have to be a huge drop, but it's how do we storytell that of a new product to our community. And yeah, there's it's exciting. I get excited with all this product coming out. What we've got coming up.
Tell you what, Lee's waiting to be dropped is I know you sell a lot of women's tights. I think back in October you were saying it's a pair of tights every 2 minutes, which is unbelievable. But I think Lee's waiting for a pair of men's tights.
I actually wear
you see him running around kicking the AFL ball in his tights.
We actually got him coming.
Have you?
Yeah.
Because AFL training, well, I get sprayed about it, but more people are starting to get on board with tights at footy training.
Yeah, we've been asked a lot by our community, so we're working on them. They'll be here this winter.
You'd be the first person to jump on board.
I do.
We'll get you rocking them.
Look, I love wearing them, but I'd have to have a pair of shorts over the top. I know you don't need that. So.
It's a garment. It's a clothing garment. You don't wear.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do wear a hoodie over a shirt, I guess, but just tights only. That's all you need.
There you go.
You can test them.
That's why we go to the gym, to keep ourselves in great nick, so that you can just flaunt it in tights. I'll show you how.
I mean, I might wear shorts, but you know,
yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah, I'll show you when they come in. I'll show you that. And do you ever have like people? This is what I love. Like, I'm trying to imagine this. Is there a process of having to say, like, when people come in and go, oh, I'm thinking this, like, how about this design? Do you have to get, nah, mate, like, stinks. Like, do you have to, do you have to actually ever do that?
No, I mean,
maybe rework that one.
Yeah, I mean, feedback is important. I think that's probably the biggest thing for us is like feedback is so important from our community to our team. And like when we're developing a product and the team's developing a product, we spend a lot of time on it and we want feedback, and you want negative feedback. You know, if you don't invite negative feedback, you kind of think you know everything, and we far from know everything, and we're always learning. So it's probably reworded in a different way, but yeah. But yeah, we definitely open that kind of negative feedback to improve, because then you go, why are they asking that? Okay, why are they saying that, or why are they asking that question? Okay, how do we make this better? Like how do we constantly improve our product for the community, or how do we each season get better for them? It depends if whether it's a technical garment or whether women's leggings. It's just really a technical garment with a raw material that is our own fabric, and the work that goes into getting that right and the feedback to getting that right.
When you say a technical garment, just for us novices out there, what does that mean?
So I suppose a garment technical that you're training in and working out at a high intensity, or you're working out in it. It's kind of the way it moves on your body, whether it's whether you're doing squats or with your running, whatever you're doing, it's kind of moving, and you want to make sure it moves with the body as well. So yeah, there's a lot of time, and that's why we were lucky enough to put a gym in. So not only could we train and put on sessions and even have the community like sessions as well, but we can train in product and constantly test it as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we can train after this if you want.
Well, I mean, always can. I'm in jeans, but I think there's some clothes around here though.
Yeah, there might be some rep shorts.
Yeah. Haz, do you want to get into this? Do you want to explain the must or dust situation?
Yeah, so we like to do a little concept called must or dust, a segment we run every now and then, and you have to
yeah, it's nervy. It is a nervy time.
Yeah. Okay, so you have to really commit. So we give you a topic, and I've picked some that you might be might have a strong opinion on, maybe not, but you have to go down the line to say that's a must or it's dust.
Yeah.
It's just
so must is like you need it, you have to have it. It's brilliant. Dust that's terrible. Like, nah, I'm absolutely.
I'm like nervous.
What's an example? What examples have we had? So like iced coffee, for example. Like Goaty, our mate, loves it. Like loves it more than normal coffee or hot coffee. Shouldn't say normal. 2022. But I think it's dust.
Not a fan.
Not going into a servo and buying.
What about if you like both? How do you class that? Still must.
Yeah, you gotta go either way.
Okay.
you gotta really
can't sit on the fence. Yeah, which I don't like.
Because it's a hot summer's day.
I like sitting on the fence, but you can't.
Maybe iced coffee was a poor example, but
I'm sure Sam would say dust.
He would say dust.
I would say dust.
Yeah, you declined a coffee, didn't you?
Yeah, no coffees here. But you can explain yourself. It's all right. But yeah, we need that must or dust initially.
Okay. Oh, and I apologise, but we do some sort of jingles to introduce these type of segments.
I love it.
It's my singing, which it's never met with. Negative feedback's important, isn't it, as we've learnt, and we get a lot of negative feedback for this. Is this master dust? Is this master dust? It won't take too long, but don't get it wrong. Is this master dust? Fade that out. That is just gold. Genius.
What a legend.
You can't get much better than that. That'd be in our top 3, I reckon. Jingles.
Yeah, it's up there. There's a lot worse. So you're happy with listening to that one instead.
All right, let's lead us off.
First one, Lee's rocking it at the moment. I think you might have in the past. It's facial hair, must or dust?
Oh, I think it's a must.
Must, yeah.
Okay. Slowly getting there.
You look like you could
slowly,
get some good stuff happening.
Yeah, depends on the day.
Have you gone with different styles? Have you ever?
Well, I do normally do a mo for Movember, so I'll normally rock that for Movember. And if I'm away, if I take a holiday with the family, I'll normally just let it grow.
Oh,
but I don't. Yeah, I normally just clipper it now. I just clipper it, so it kind of.
Haz, what are you?
Well, I have to be dust only because I can't grow one.
Never seen you with a beard, a mustache, nothing.
No.
So you're starting Movember now?
Well, I'd need to. Yeah. I think I shaved recently for the first time in every couple of weeks maybe, but that's you can't tell either. So yeah, that's
good. It won't shock you to know I'd be a must.
Yeah,
I haven't had a mustache, but I've had a mustache since 2014.
Really?
Yeah. Well, me and Mitch grew it as a tribute because our dad, we never saw Dad without a mustache. It just never happened. So when he passed away, we grew it as a tribute to him.
I love that
ever since. Yeah.
It becomes you though. So
Yeah,
if you shaved
exactly.
it, it'd feel weird.
Well,
you know?
I've shaved it a few times actually. Like just when I've like for Movember, I shaved it off to start with everyone else because otherwise it was cheating. And I just felt like the gap between my lip and my nose was massive. Like it looked like it was 2
could have
meters.
seen it.
Yeah. It was just like, what? Put something in between that gap, would you?
Nearly as big as your forehead's getting at the moment.
Yeah,
eh?
exactly. That's right. And also, mate, we'll leave that. No.
I'm interested to hear this one actually on your, coming from that sporting background, is gaming consoles. Must or dust?
Oh, we just stumped him in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one.
What are you? You're a must.
Some athletes love playing it. It's a must for me, but I never actually. I very rarely do play. I used to when I was younger, but
I used to play when I was younger. Sony
yeah.
PlayStation. I mean, it's a must, but I don't play it a lot.
Yeah.
But I know it's a must, and I think it's going to become a huge sport.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to pack out. They're already packing out stadiums. You know,
they do it in schools now. As like part. You know how we played inter-school sport. That's cool. I'm genuinely
really?
the last term that I was a teacher, we had an esports team.
Need
And
to
it was
get
like proper. It was the most that people signed up for. It won't surprise you to know.
You need to get some
Yeah,
esports players getting some LSKD clothing on.
It could happen. Could happen. So yeah, I think it's a must. I mean, I don't play it, but I definitely think it's a must.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next one is ties, like wearing a tie.
Oh, I'd say dust because I don't wear a tie, and I'd prefer to just be me. I mean, if I have to wear a tie, I will, but
Yeah.
you know, I'd prefer to go to an event in a t-shirt if I could.
I certainly had to wear it at school every day, and it's dust for mine.
Three
yeah.
dust.
Actually, I did too.
Ties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to wear them in the winter months. Tie, but it stinks. No ties for me, thanks. I've got too fat of a neck. Can never get the top button done up.
Just pinches it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Every time we go to weddings, I like have to get someone to physically help me or like
Top
safety
button.
pin
Yeah.
it to get the top
You need to
button.
custom make the neckline for you.
No,
you know?
yeah, if anyone's out there that specialises in fat necks, then let me know.
Next one is making your bed each morning. Must or dust?
Oh, is that a?
No, there's no wrong answer.
found that
There's
out
no
from
wrong
someone.
answer.
Oh, it's a dust. I'm shocking.
Yeah, dust for mine.
My
as
wife
well.
is amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, I think my girlfriend wanted me to do it as much as possible, but I just don't. It's dust for mine. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, discipline. The first thing you got to do when you wake up is make your bed." It's good
I hate
discipline.
seeing
I'm
those
like,
videos. Give me a spell, man. You get back in there at night and sleep in it again. You don't have to make it. Who cares?
It all changes when you have kids, so you kind of like, oh yeah, you're busy. But I mean, I'm normally up before my wife, so I with like at least 4:30 in the morning. So I'm not,
That's the excuse. You can't.
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
my
She's still
excuse.
in it,
I'm up
isn't she?
the earliest, right? Kind of.
Give him one more, House. Choose your best.
Oh no!
Come on, you've done 4 already, so
One
give
more.
us even 5.
I'm gonna say rain. Must or dust? Do you like the rain, or is it you hate rain?
You rode in it this morning.
Oh yeah, it was fun, but it wasn't right. I mean, it's a must because you need rain.
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
rain. Because if the grass, it helps keep everything green, and I mean, especially for the farmers. But yeah, so I'd have to say must, but it depends on the day. This morning wouldn't have mind no rain, but it rained and whatever.
We don't need as much as we got at the moment, do we?
No.
What were you telling us about the bike thing? I've obviously have also lost knowledge of bikes, but you were saying you had to charge a battery in your bike.
Oh yeah, so I have my Giant. It's got electric gears, and I got about a year ago when I did the first try I did. I borrowed a bike, and then I've got a bike. So I didn't realize I knew you got to charge it, but then last week when I rode, I'm like, oh, my battery's going flat. I better charge it. And then I showed up this morning when to change gears, and it was stuck in the one gear. So my battery went flat, and it wouldn't change gears. I'm like, what? This is the time I just wish I had normal gears. So yeah, so I had to do the whole session on like 3rd gear, and you normally get up to top gear on a crit track. So you do 2 laps off, 1 lap on, and here's me spinning like crazy, trying to keep up, which I pretty much got lapped today. So they took my soul. It was my own fault. So I got to remember to charge it for next week.
That's fantastic. Well, mate, you have been unbelievable to get to catch up with. Thank you so much for having us here in
all right.
in the new headquarters of 5 weeks old. And we would encourage people, if you're listening, to come down and check it out. Where are we here?
Yeah, we're at 46 Birchall Street. So, I mean, and we have a LSKD.HQ Instagram account as well, which kind of shares a bit more behind the scenes. But yeah, we're open Monday to Saturday now. So the store's open every day. So pop down and come say hello and check it out.
Yeah. No, it's been fantastic to chat to you. It's awesome to just see what you've created over, actually, what people probably wouldn't realise is quite a long time, and how much hard work's gone into it. It's a great example, wonderful example of getting the chocolates. There's no question whatsoever. So it just made sense for us to catch up and have a
Yeah, I
chat.
appreciate it. I've been stoked. I was excited to come on here. So I really appreciate your time.
Izzy, thank you very much.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, mate.